Welcome to Pre-Algebra Review video. The best way to use this video is to watch with your notebook and take notes while I'm teaching. Pause the video often when you need to get the notes down. Every time the video arrives at a you try, pause it immediately, attempt the problems, and then press play to see the solutions shown with all the work. Let's begin. In this section, we're going to cover the following items. We'll begin with order of operations. You're probably familiar with PEMDAS. I actually am not the biggest fan of PEMDAS. I'll explain why in a moment, but PEMDAS just has parentheses, but there are other grouping symbols that come first. Exponents are okay, and then my main issue is multiplication comes before division and addition comes before subtraction. That's just not always the case. So I'm going to introduce you to GEMS. The G stands for grouping symbols, which includes parentheses, but also brackets and fraction bars. We've got exponents, that stays the same. And then here we've got the M for multiplication or division from left to right, and subtraction or addition from left to right. Let's take a look at a couple examples. So we've got 9 minus 7 plus 3. So let's look at GEMS. No grouping symbols, no exponents, no multiplication. We've got subtraction or addition from left to right. So as I look from left to right, the first thing I see is the subtraction symbol. So I bring everything down. 9 minus 7 is 2. There's only one operation remaining. We get 5. Now you might want to know, why am I calling it GEMS? Because you can do that cool thing. All right, now let's take a look at the next one. Let's look if we have any grouping symbols, and we do. This fraction bar is a grouping symbol. So we'll actually do everything in the top, everything in the bottom, keep our fraction bar, and everything else. Well, there's nothing to do with 20, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So now we're done with our grouping symbol. Exponent, none. We do have multiplication or division. This is a division sign. So we'll bring down that minus 1. We get 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. That is the answer. All right, our last one here together. We start with our grouping symbols. We have this grouping symbol here, but inside of that grouping symbol are more operations. So we look at GEMS again, and there is an exponent. So we're going to bring down the 5, the minus, keep that parenthesis. 1 to the third power is 1. Inside, we're going to deal with that grouping symbol. There's only one operation, so that's the one we do. So we get 5 minus. Now, because there's no number in front of that parenthesis, we can simply bring down and get rid of the parenthesis. 5 minus 3 is 2. All right, take a moment and pause the video and give these a try. When you hit play, the solutions and the work will be on the next slide. Pause the video here to check your work and your answers. Moving along, standard form and leading coefficient. When we have a series of terms or an expression, we need to put them in a standard form. And the way that we do that is we look at the highest degree meaning exponent. So we compare the degree and we say, hey, this guy is bigger. So the whole term goes first. And then you go in order from highest to lowest. Of that term, we have a degree and then we have a coefficient. The leading coefficient is the coefficient of the leading term, in this case 3. Take a look here. The degrees are 4, 2, and invisible 0. So we've got 4 goes first, then 2, then the constant. Always remember there's an invisible 1 there. Our leading coefficient is -1. The last one here is just two terms, a constant and an x. It's got a coefficient of 1 and a degree of 1. 1 is bigger than 0. So we'll put that first. It looks like there's nothing in front, but it's invisible 1, so our leading coefficient is 1. We're going to move on to subtracting polynomials. When we subtract polynomials, you will notice that you have a subtraction sign in between. That may seem obvious, but a lot of times students do more work than they need to. So we've got a subtraction sign. We want to distribute the subtraction to each term and make it a positive out here and change every side inside. And at this point, we'll just simply combine like terms. So we've got the 3 and -5 make -2. I like to put a coefficient of a 1, 1x, and 4x make 5x. Now, is this in standard form? It is not, so make sure your answer is now in standard form. Let's take a look at the next one. We've got this polynomial here, subtracting this polynomial here, we need to change that subtraction to an addition. So that becomes a plus, and then we change all of our signs. And then we look to combine like terms. So we have this x squared and this x squared. I like to put a 1, there we go. I like to put a 1 in front of it. So 1 minus 3 is negative 2x squared. So those are done. We've got this plus 3 combined with that constant. 3 minus 2 is plus 1. And then we just have this minus 2x, nobody to combine with, and then we need to rewrite it into standard form. Go ahead and pause the video and give these a try. Pause the video to check your work and see how you did. We're going to move on to multiplying polynomials. Now, immediately I want you to look in between those parentheses. Do we have a subtraction symbol? No, we actually don't have anything, which indicates we're going to be doing multiplication. Now, you guys may have heard of FOIL. We're going to be doing distributing. I'm going to take the long route for number 1, showing all my work, and then number 2, I'll show a little bit less work. I like to put coefficients and exponents where I don't see them. And I begin with the first term and the first term in the other one. So I'm going to multiply 1x to the first times 2x to the first and immediately write a plus. Then I'm going to take that 1x to the first and times it by a negative 4, immediately write a plus. I've got my negative 3 times 2x to the first, immediately write a plus. And I've got that negative 3 times that negative 4, and immediately write a plus. No, there's nothing left to multiply, so I don't need to do that. Now, we're going to multiply these out. 1 times 2 makes 2. We add the exponents. We get minus 4x, or 4x to the first, minus 6x plus 12. Combining like terms, we get 2x to the second minus 10x plus 12. It's in standard form, so we're all done. Now, this one I'm going to show a little bit less work. In fact, I'm going to skip this whole step completely. So the mistake that a lot of students make is they only distribute this to the first term. So don't be that student. Make sure you multiply each to each one. So we've got 3 times 4 is 12. X to the second times x to the second is to the fourth. We've got 3 times 3 is 9. There's nothing to combine with that x squared. And then 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Forgot that 1. X to the second times x to the first is x to the third. I would be done except for it's not in standard form. Feel free to pause the video and try these problems again and moving at a slower pace. Or if you feel ready, you can go ahead and pause the video and try it out with these guys here. When you press play, the solutions will be back up. Check your work, see how you did. Make sure your answers are written in standard form. We're going to move on to solving equations and answering our solutions. So, I like to always draw an equal sign line when I'm dealing with solving. When we solve equations, we're going to be doing reverse GEMS. So in GEMS, we end with addition and subtraction. For solving, we start with it. So we're solving for x, so we want to get x alone. We're going to add 6 to both sides. Now, there's no more adding on this side, so we're going to divide both sides by 4. We get 2 is equal to x. Now, when we get into inequalities, this is going to give us a lot of trouble, so I always like to have our answers on the left-hand side. Let's try the next one. Now, you might realize, oh boy, we have 3 x's here. So the first thing I want to do is combine any x's that are on the same side of that line I drew. So I've got 6x is equal to 7x minus 7. And now, I want to get my x's on the same side of that line. Because there's other stuff going on here, I'm going to move the 7x. It wouldn't matter if you decided to do it the other way. And now I'll divide both sides by -1. X is equal to 7. Now, how can you check something like this? You simply go into your calculator, and anywhere there was an x, you replace it with a 7. So you would do 6 times 7, and then do 3 times 7 plus 4 times 7 minus 7, and see if you get the same answer. Pause the video and try on your own. Pause the video here to check your solutions. Please note there are other ways to get the right answer here. We're going to move on to our last topic, which is coordinate plane and graphing vocabulary. So let's talk about the x-axis. The x-axis is our horizontal axis here, and our y-axis is our vertical axis. We label our quadrants in Roman numerals, and they go counterclockwise. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. The directions here say draw a coordinate plane on your papers. Go ahead and do that. Plot each point and state the quadrant or axis that each point lies in. So we will start with A. I like to label this X and Y. That's how an ordered pair works. And this tells you how far to move left or right if it's positive right, negative left, up or down, up if it's positive, down if it's negative. So we're going to move 3 on the x-axis and up 1, and that's the point A. This is in quadrant 1. Letter B says -2 for x and -4 for y. So we've got -2 and -4 for y, and that would be letter B. That's in quadrant 3. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. C, we've got a positive x and a negative y, so we've got a +1 and a -2. And that would be in quadrant 4. And then we've got the ordered pairs 0 for x, y is 2. Now 0 for x means I'm not going to go left or right at all from the origin. I'm just going to move up 2, and that would be on the y-axis. Pause the video and give this a try. You try these problems, and when you press play again, the answers will be up. Okay, that concludes pre-algebra review.